John,
And,
is it still the administration or the United States position that freedom of the press is a cornerstone of democracy?
This is still the feeling of the United States
Yeah, that
government.
hasn't changed, right?
Right.
Okay.
But
It's
kind of
still,
wondering where
it's
this
still,
is going.
I know. Well, you won't. You'll know in a second. It is still a criteria or a requirement that members of NATO are democracies, isn't it?
I'm not aware of any change to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, given those two positions that have not changed stances, I'm wondering what you make of the seizure of Turkey's largest newspaper, opposition newspaper.
I talked about this.
What you have to say about the status of democracy there.
I talked about this quite a bit on Friday. I'd refer you to the transcript back then rather than have me go through all the same points. I was very clear about our concern about the move to trusteeship over Zaman, which is what I think you're talking about.
Yeah.
And the court case that led to that decision for trusteeship. We were very, very explicit on that. And as I said Friday, and I'll say it again today, Turkey's democracy still matters to us. And we want to see, for the sake of the Turkish people, we want to see the Turkish government continue to live up to the values enshrined in its own constitution, not just ours, about press freedom.
So where I'm also going with this is there was over the weekend a lot of very harsh criticism lobbed at the ambassador.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to say about that?
I saw that criticism, and let me just state unequivocally that well, a couple of things. First of all, the president and the secretary have and have had the utmost faith, trust, and confidence in Ambassador Bass and the work that he's doing out there, and he has the full support of Secretary Kerry as he continues to engage the Turkish government with respect to this particular issue. Well, all issues, but this one in particular that you're asking about. Number two, I would say that the Turkish people have no better friend than the one they have in John Bass. He really cares about Turkey and Turkey's success and their future and the Turkish people. And that's why he speaks out on issues like this when it's important to do so. And again, I would just reiterate, he continues to have the full support and confidence of Secretary Kerry and the President.
So what do you make of this very harsh and vitriolic criticism?
Well, it's unwarranted. It's certainly undeserved, and it is at the very least incredibly unfortunate, given the fact that the ambassador is so dedicated to furthering the U.S.-Turkey relationship.
And I wasn't here on Friday, but did you speak then, when in talking about the seizure of the takeover of the newspaper, about what this tells you about the state of democracy in Turkey? Did you speak to that? You say that it still matters and you still care about it.
Well, as I said,
but do you see this as an erosion?
I'm not ready to say that we've got some sort of trend analysis here, but
really, has the trend
talked about the trend.
you see,
Friday.
I know. See, when I say but, that means I have more to say in my sentence, and you just have to let me finish it. But we do continue to be concerned about these ongoing reports, and I mean, I'm obviously the trend is not in a positive direction in terms of press freedoms in Turkey, and that is worrisome, and that's why we continue to talk about this.
One of the things you said on Friday was that the administrative takeover shouldn't lead to any newsroom changes. Obviously, in the edition of Zaman has come out since then. You're very prominent on the front page. There's an old picture, but you're very young. Obviously, there has been a change in newsroom policy. So, the trend since your Friday, it's been downhill since then.
Yeah, as I said, I mean, we are certainly worried about where things are going with respect to
Are you also
to
worried that
press
Turkey
freedoms
is
in
not
Turkey.
paying any attention to your worries?
I'm sorry?
Are you also worried that Turkey is not paying attention to your worries?
What I would...
Yeah. That they're rejecting your worries.
Well, clearly, they continue to make decisions, regardless of our pleas and the pleas of others in the international community, they continue to make decisions that are that contradict directly democratic principles that are enshrined in their own constitution. And press freedom is one of them. And they continue to ignore their own obligations, again, under their own constitution. So if you're asking me, does that concern us? Does that worry us? The answer is absolutely yes. And that is why Ambassador Bass has been vocal about it and honest about it and candid about it, as he should be with Turkish leaders. And I think we will continue to be so. As I said, yes, Turkey is a NATO ally, and Turkey is a key partner and a friend on many levels and on many issues, not the least of which is the fight against Daesh in Syria in particular. And we're not going to see eye to eye with them on everything. We clearly don't agree with the decisions that they've been making with respect to press freedoms. And we believe it's important, particularly with one's friends, to be able to state honestly and boldly our concerns.
But with all friends, there's a point where the friendship's over. And an alliance of democracies is only an alliance of democracies.
I don't think that's in anybody's interest. Certainly not. It's not in our interest. It's not in Turkey's interest, and that's not what we want to see as an outcome. What we want to see, what Ambassador Bass wants to see, is Turkey succeed and Turkey live up to those democratic principles. I mean, this isn't about picking on them over one issue that we don't like. Yeah, we don't like it when newspapers are shut down, or reporters are muzzled, or trusteeships are established, which change clearly what will be or what could be the editorial content of what should be an independent journalist arm of journalism in Turkey. But that doesn't mean that it has to tear asunder an entire bilateral relationship, nor do we think it will. And though we absolutely don't agree with what's going on there with respect to press freedoms, we still are able and want to be able to continue to have conversations with the Turks, not just about this, but about a whole range of other issues.
And you don't regard the latest in the long series of troubling attacks on the press, I may not have gotten the phrasing exactly right, but steps against the press that took place on Friday in the takeover of Zaman, as constituting an erosion of democracy in Turkey?
Let me put it this way, Ashad. As I said, it is a trend that is going in the wrong direction. No doubt about that. I mean, how many times do I get up here and have to say the same thing about press freedoms in Turkey? So it's certainly not going in the right direction. But what I would say is the trend as it is now, the actions as they are being taken, are doing nothing to contribute to free democratic principles in Turkey. The same free democratic principles that, as I said before, are enshrined in their constitution. None of this is contributing to that goal.
That does not